I am absolutely loving Path of Exile. Ever since I switched from Diablo 4 to Path of Exile, my whole gaming experience has just completely shifted. I mean, the game has so much to offer. There are some things that I don't really like about Path of Exile, but we will dive into that very shortly. Make sure you stay to the end so that way you can hear all of the reasons why you should either play Path of Exile in 2023 or why you shouldn't, or even quit, or if you should return to the game. Let's dive into it. Let's go. So, I have put in about 50 hours of Path of Exile in the last month. Now, I know to some people that's not a lot of hours, but to me, that's a lot of hours, okay? And I think that, it really gives me a good opinion on the base game. I know that there's a lot of things to dive into still, like I'm into maps right now and other things like that. And the trials, doing the league content, and I haven't started doing that yet, but I have completed the beginning of the game, the campaign. And the one thing about Path of Exile is that it is not very beginner friendly. So there's a lot of people that will start the game, and once you get started, you will get very overwhelmed very fast. Like it is very easy to just want to, your head to just spin. It feels like there is so much. And if, even down to the skills, the skills have gems. The gems are skills, the passive tree, just the gear itself, there's so much to do in just the campaign, and that's considered the tutorial. So the thing is with Path of Exile is that you need to invest a lot of hours. If you are a casual gamer, if you are a dad that comes home from work in the evening and you have maybe 1 hour to play, Path of Exile is probably not for you. But the thing is that you can still get things done. It just will be done at a lot slower of a pace. And you got to remember, there's 10 years of content with Path of Exile. You know what I mean? There's not just, hey, it just released, kind of like Diablo 4, where there's really not a lot of content. There's 10 years of content piled up on itself here, and they have done a ton of updates and everything like that. So there's so much to do. So whenever you are starting, you feel like you're kind of always behind. I really want you to be prepared for that. If you haven't started Path of Exile, or if you're even starting a new character and you're relatively new to the game, then you always just kind of feel like you're behind. You're always kind of playing catch up. I've noticed that on the stream where I've been, talking to people that have been playing this game for 10 plus years, and they know everything and I just know nothing. You know what I mean? So one thing about the game is that it is a beautiful game. Like, I absolutely love how Path of Exile looks. I know that a lot of people compare Diablo 4 graphics to Path of Exile, and they're like, oh, it's like night and day. It's completely different. Yes, it's completely different, but the thing is that it has its own strengths. I mean, like, look at the graphics here. You're seeing the character looks good. Does it look 100% realistic like how things look nowadays? No, not really, but it still looks really, really good. And the thing is that I kind of like the cartoony look a little bit, because whenever you're going around and shooting stuff and killing the mobs, you have that, like, there's so many flashes. And the flashes kind of draw you in more than like Diablo 4, where, it seems more of like a realistic base. You know what I mean? So I really think that you get more of the dopamine hit when you are playing Path of Exile. And I really, honestly, I prefer that. So there's tons of loot in the game. I've noticed this. It's been very difficult for me to sort through all of the different loot, but the thing is that you can download loot filters. Now, if you haven't had a loot filter, or if you don't know what a loot filter is, you can download those relatively easy. It's just, with there being so much loot, it forces you into having to get a loot filter. And I mean, if you don't, you're going to be wasting so much time just completely searching every item that drops. Just it really saves you a ton of time, and you guys really need to be doing that. And I mean, there is a little bit of a perk to that, because then you're seeing a ton of loot drop. You're getting excited when you hear, because like with the loot filter you can hear when specific things drop, and it almost like it gives you another like, you know what I mean, like, oh my gosh, something just dropped. And that it gives you another like, oh man, that's like another fun factor to the game. And I really like that. I think that the loot could be dialed back just a little bit and maybe just increase the chances of some better loot. But all in all, I really do think that they've done a fantastic job with that. But now, talking about all the loot, now you have to talk about stash tabs. So stash tabs in the game, they give you, I think, 3 or 4 stashes, right? But the thing is, with the game being out for so long, you pretty much are forced to almost have to buy stash tabs. And the stash tabs are with real life currency or real money. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing saying that you have to do that. But with the amount of loot in the game, you pretty much have to. You know what I mean? If you pretty much at least have to buy one. You at least maybe have to buy the currency tab and maybe an upgraded tab, so that way you can trade, right? You use the trading site, which trading is another whole thing. And I just want to say, I had my first trade the other day, and honestly, like, it brought me so much joy. I was actually looking up prices of other things, other items, because I wanted to sell some more stuff. I wanted another divine orb, and like, that was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, like, I was really excited about that. So talking about stash tabs, you can buy stash tabs and cosmetics. Now the cosmetics are pretty sweet. I probably will be buying a few more cosmetics. I really like, I really support grinding gear games, and I'm loving what they've done with Path of Exile, and I will be putting a little bit more money into the game, so that way I am supporting them. So I will be getting some more cosmetics, but I do like how you can only buy cosmetics pretty much and stash tabs. I think that that's a smart way to go, and I think that it doesn't overwhelm everybody with a ton of microtransactions there. So another thing with this game is that whenever you're in boss fights, you feel like you were completely submerged in the game, and with Diablo 4, I just never felt that. Absolutely, the audio in this game, it just really sucks me in ridiculous. Like it gives you the feeling that you were inside of the fight. It gives you the anxiousness, and who doesn't like that feeling? You know what I mean? Who doesn't like that? There's always something to do, whether it be seasonal content, whether it be you have to upgrade your gear, whether it be you want to try to get more divines, whether it be, anything that you can think of, you can always do something. The campaign takes roughly 50 plus hours, which is awesome to me. I really think that that's a beautiful way to do it. You just starting off the game, they say you need 50 plus hours in order to beat the tutorial of this game. If that does not speak volumes for how the game is actually done, I don't know what is. I mean, if you want content, this game has the content. Crafting is fun. I enjoyed it. Crafting is a little bit weird when you first start, but it does give you more options to tweak your build and to put intelligence. You can put strength. You can put dex. You can put fire resist. I mean, you can pretty much, as long as you have the suffix, you can do it. And that just adds a lot of personalization with your build and how you were trying to do it with your passive tree. And I just think that it's awesome. Then the sockets, if you want to run the risks of the sockets, then that's another thing you can do. I mean, there's just so many things. I could make probably an hour-long video about what all you can do in Path of Exile. I love the game. I will continue to be playing the game. And I am so excited for Path of Exile 2. So if you guys love Path of Exile, smack these videos, go watch some more from me, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Let's go get it.